You know what I've come to realize? One of the quickest ways that we can lose ourselves in life is by always needing to get somewhere. Everything that we do being a means to an end. Like this obsession with productivity or striving. And quite often it has the opposite effect on your well-being and ultimately on your overall productivity. You end up burning out. If everything that you do has to be, you know, something that you're checking off your to-do list, something that will help you achieve some goal or whatever it is, it's kind of this arrival fallacy that, you know, when we check off all these things, when we get to that end goal, that things will be better in some way. You know, we'll find that contentment or we'll be able to relax then. But it's kind of a never-ending chase, really. It's a never-ending chase because a lot of this comes from fear. The fear of what will happen if, you know, you don't strive constantly. I think it's a fear of lack, fear of, you know, not being enough, whether that's, you know, physically or financially or the things that you have in your life, your possessions. In some way, I think that we get engaged in this incessant striving because of fear. And although it's packaged and disguised in a, you know, a productive thing, like, oh, I'm doing good here. I'm doing really, I'm moving the needle in my life. I'm trying to help people, or you know, I'm whatever it is. It's not like the fear is necessarily destructive on the surface, you know. But I've come to find that if it's not in balance, it can be destructive to your own life, to you, to your mental health, to your mental well-being. Like I said, it's a very good way to lose yourself in the chase. It's like we become so disconnected from ourselves, from awareness, that it's like we're just robots. And unless we're always doing something, it's like we can't sit still. We're like, oh my, then we turn into, you know, it's like we need to turn to distractions or overstimulation. If we're not constantly doing something to move towards a goal, we're numbing or distracting ourselves in different ways. And that these things just pull us away from ourselves. Again, from awareness, from consciousness. We become human doings rather than human beings. It's like we become a shell of ourselves in so many ways. It's so important to have this balance within yourself, because a lot of times when we're operating from fear, we're operating from this dysregulation within, we're not in balance. And that is what leads us to this inner chaos in our mind, this constant need to be striving or avoiding something, or, you know, whatever it is, but we don't feel that sense of peace or contentment within. There's this inner restlessness. And sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. There's power in just doing nothing. It helps you to come back to yourself, just to reset, to not strive. Again, there's a time for striving and there's a time for rest. And if our foot is always on the gas, eventually you run out of gas. You've got to learn how to coast a little bit. But I think that we've been taught or conditioned somewhere along the way that you're going to get left behind. You're going to miss out. You're lazy. You're not going to be successful. All of these different narratives that often drive us to burnout, essentially, because we always need to be doing something and striving and, all this stuff. So understanding when to take your foot off the gas, when to just let yourself be. I think a really powerful practice is doing things just for the sake of doing them, with no attachment to an outcome, no needing to get to some other thing. It's not a step to something else. It's just, you're just doing it because you're doing it. You are completely present with that. And to be present with it is to not be thinking about the future and how this is going to serve your future. It's to just be in here and now. Everything else is just dissolves. All ideas of the past and the future dissolve. You're just here now with no end goal, no striving. I think it's a very powerful practice in resetting, in regulating, in just being. It could be anything, but you'll notice that a lot of the things that we do in life, there's an underlying reason that we need to be doing it. Everything has to have some sort of utility or function, or for productivity. So to have purposeful time where you're just being will actually help you be more productive in life. I've found it'll help you be more creative. It'll help you come back feeling more refreshed to your work. It'll help you show up as your best, mentally, physically. It just gives you that space to really come back to who you are, so that you can be a human being rather than a human doing. We're not robots. We didn't come here on this planet to, always be striving for these arbitrary goals that don't really mean anything, to get caught up in this play of life. It's to integrate the spiritual essence of what we are into this life that we're experiencing as human beings. To breathe consciousness into life through presence and mindfulness. And I know how easy it is to lose that in the incessant striving. It can be very, very damaging. While on the outside, it seems like it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. There's nuance to it. In some ways, maybe it's better than sitting around doing nothing all the time. Like I said, everything in moderation. I think it's just important to find what that balance is for you. And if you ever feel like you're losing yourself, or you just feel like empty and just depleted, ask yourself, is everything that you do a means to an end? Are you in this constant state of dysregulation and fear-based striving that if you don't do this, you're going to miss out on something, or you're not going to get ahead, or other people are going to surpass you, or something like that? Because believe me, that narrative never goes away. Even when you reach the goalpost of what you want, that's why they call it an arrival fallacy. It's this illusion in our minds. What's driving the bus is fear. And if that state of scarcity or lack is continually running us, it'll run us into the ground. We're going to be so out of balance. We're not going to look after ourselves. We'll let ourselves drop off our other, foundational responsibilities, whatever those look like. And it's like we're running around like a chicken with its head cut off, just frantic, overwhelmed, overworked, But it doesn't have to be that way. We are the ones that usually create that for ourselves. So I found it's very important to just recenter and ground ourselves in the present moment and through mindfulness by slowing down. It's very powerful. You realize that you get much more out of life itself, much more contentment, enrichment, that the endless striving could never give you, because even when you reach that little goal, it was just a little blip, a little high, but never enough. So we're always going for the next thing and the next thing. In some ways, it's almost like cheap dopamine, but it's not as cheap because you're actually doing the work. It's like kind of when you scroll your phone. It's lighting up the reward center of your brain. It's making you feel good. And the same thing is true with this constant checking off boxes. I'm not saying to not have goals. I'm saying if you feel like you're depleted or burnt out or you're getting to that point, it's okay to take a step back. And if you're not, then keep doing it. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I've been on both sides of the coin. And I've found that being able to come back to presence and mindfulness, even though on the outside it might not look like I'm always striving, you actually feel better within yourself, which allows you to show up and put in more quality effort rather than quantity effort. Because that's the thing, when we're always needing to be doing something, it's more so quantity over quality. You're there, but you're not really there. So, there's a really good saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. I think it just speaks to the importance of doing the mundane things or just doing things just for the sake of doing them, with no real purpose of trying to strive to some higher level. That constant striving is always putting us in this state of I'll be good enough one day, or I'll feel better one day. You're always kind of looking and climbing, but the climb never ends. You might accumulate lots in your life, a lot of material wealth or success or whatever that looks like for you, but unless we are connected with ourselves, we won't feel truly fulfilled or enriched or content. We'll always look for something outside of us to kind of fill that void. It's very unfortunate that a lot of times we go through life very disconnected from ourselves in that way, and so we need to look outside of us to try and fill that void within. But there's nothing outside of us that can fill that void. Not a person, not an amount of money, not a bigger house, not a nicer jewelry, nothing. This inner spaciousness, if you will, is spiritual. And to really fill that, it's to find that spiritual essence within yourself and in life by reconnecting with yourself through presence, through awareness, through observation, self-observation, through doing nothing, essentially, and not needing to achieve something. So, I hope this video helps you. Just know that if our foot's always on the gas, eventually you run out of gas. We burn ourselves out, and it's okay to take time and not always be doing something. Not to have everything as a means to an end. It really messes with your brain and your sense of self. You lose yourself, like I said. So, this is you. No, it's okay to take your foot off the gas, to just be. You'll feel better. So, hope this helps. I'll see you in the next video.